Do exactly this tomorrow morning. When you wake up, walk directly into your kitchen. Take a clean glass out of the cupboard. Fill it to the brim with room temperature water. Put it down on the counter. Now open your spice cabinet. Reach past the pepper, reach past the garlic and pull out the salt. It doesn't matter if it is highly refined white table salt, pink Himalayan rock salt, or gray Celtic sea salt. Put the salt on the counter right next to the glass of water. Stand perfectly still and look at both of them. Do not mix them. Do not put a single grain of that salt into that water. Keep your hands at your sides and listen to me very carefully. Pay absolute, hyper-focused attention to the physiological reality of your body in this exact moment of the morning. Think about how your mouth feels. Notice the dry, sticky sensation on your tongue. Feel the tight, rigid, almost brittle sensation in the connective tissue of your lower back and your knees as you stand there. You have just spent the last 8 hours unconscious, breathing out hot water vapor with every single exhale. You have lost over a pound of pure water mass. Your fascial tissue is glued together. The microscopic cells that make up your heart, your brain, and your muscles are literally shrinking, begging for structural hydration. You are standing in your kitchen in a state of clinical, biological dehydration. Your body is screaming for a solvent to flush the system. You look at that glass of water and you know you need to drink it, but you look at the salt shaker and you hesitate. Why? Because you have been watching internet videos. You have been watching 25-year-old fitness influencers and biohackers tell you that drinking pure water is a mistake. They told you that you need to put a half teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt into your morning water to hack your adrenal glands, optimize your cellular energy, and trigger ultimate hydration. You think that because a fitness model in their 20s can drink a glass of hypersalinated water and feel a rush of energy, it must be the exact biological medicine your aging body needs. You are entirely, catastrophically wrong. You are not 25 years old. You are over 60. Your vascular system, your renal filtration system, and your cellular membranes do not possess the elastic, invincible resilience of a 20-something athlete. When you dump raw, dissolved sodium chloride into your dehydrated stomach at 6 o'clock in the morning, you are not hydrating your cells. You are triggering a massive, violent, microscopic cardiovascular crisis. You are weaponizing your own blood against your heart. And right now, across 4 distinct layers of cellular physics, vascular hemodynamics, and ancient Roman military history, I am going to show you exactly why the morning saltwater trend is destroying your blood pressure. Layer 1 is the brutal physics of cellular osmosis. Sodium is an extracellular mineral. This means the vast, overwhelming majority of the sodium in your body is designed to sit asterisk outside the cells, in the blood plasma. Potassium is designed to sit asterisk inside asterisk the cell. This balance is the foundation of human life, but modern human beings do not eat a balanced diet. You are almost certainly consuming far more sodium than potassium. Your extracellular fluid is already packed with salt. Your blood is already slightly concentrated when you wake up. And what do? You dissolve a massive pinch of raw, crystalline sodium in water and dump it into an empty stomach. The salt water is rapidly absorbed into your bloodstream. Your blood instantly becomes hypertonic. This means the concentration of salt in the blood outside the cells is now drastically higher than the fluid inside the cells. Nature despises an imbalance. The hypertonic, salty blood acts like a massive biological vacuum. Through the process of osmosis, the blood literally sucks water asterisk out asterisk of your cells to dilute the massive salt spike you just introduced. Think about the catastrophic irony of this moment. You woke up dehydrated. Your cells were shrinking, begging for fluid. You drank a glass of salt water because a biohacker told you it was ultimate hydration. And instead of the water entering the cell to plump it up, the massive sodium load violently sucks the last remaining drops of structural water out of your cells. You are actively, chemically dehydrating the deep intracellular matrix of your brain, your heart, and your muscles to dilute the toxic mistake you just made in your bloodstream. Layer 2 is vascular hemodynamics, the physics of your aging blood vessels. When the salt violently pulls the water out of your cells and into your bloodstream, your total blood volume expands. You suddenly have more physical liquid trapped inside your circulatory system. More liquid trapped inside a closed pipe means higher pressure. This is the fundamental, unavoidable law of hydraulics. If you are 25 years old, your blood vessels are incredibly elastic. When the blood volume spikes from a dose of salt water, the 25-year-old artery simply expands. It stretches like a fresh rubber band. The blood pressure barely registers a change. This is why the biohacker on the internet thinks the salt water is harmless. He is living inside a vascular system that has not yet aged. You are over 60. Decades of mechanical wear and tear, mild inflammation, and the natural biological process of aging have changed your vascular system. Your arteries have undergone arteriosclerosis, the natural stiffening and hardening of the arterial walls. The collagen has cross-linked. The elastin has degraded. Your arteries are no longer supple rubber bands. They are rigid pipes. When the osmosis pulls fluid into your blood, expanding the volume, your 65-year-old arteries cannot stretch to accommodate it. They are rigid. Because the pipes cannot expand, the extra fluid volume causes an immediate, massive, violent spike in your blood pressure. Your heart, the muscular pump in the center of your chest, suddenly has to push against a massive wall of hydraulic resistance. The pressure hammers against the delicate inner lining of your arteries, causing destructive shear stress that tears the endothelium and lays down the foundational cement for arterial plaque. You did not wake up and biohack your adrenals. You woke up, tore your arterial lining, and forced your aging heart to run a marathon before you even put your shoes on. But the biohackers will tell you that the ancients drank salt water. They will tell you that our ancestors didn't drink pure water, and that we need the minerals found in raw rock salt to mimic the ancient diet. They use history to sell you a lie. So let us look at the greatest, most disciplined, most lethal civilization of the ancient world, the Roman Empire. Did the Romans drink salt water for hydration? Absolutely, unequivocally not. The Romans hated contaminated, salty water. They spent massive, incomprehensible fortunes, utilizing the greatest engineering minds on the planet to construct the aqueducts. These were massive, gravity-fed superstructures designed to do one single thing: transport millions of gallons of crystal-clear, ice-cold, pure mountain spring water directly into the heart of the city. They carved through mountains for 40 miles, just to ensure that the water they drank was completely devoid of massive mineral contamination or saltwater intrusion. The idea that the ancient world deliberately drank heavy salt water for morning hydration is an absolute, fabricated historical fiction. But wait, the biohacker says, what about the Roman soldiers? Didn't they drink a special functional beverage? Yes, they did, but it was not raw salt water. The drink of the Roman legionary, the drink of the gladiator, the drink of the working class, was a biological masterpiece called *Pasca*. Pasca was not water mixed with pink Himalayan rock salt. Pasca was pure water mixed with sour wine, wine that had gone acidic and turned into vinegar. Why is this chemically massive? Because the Romans understood biological hydration better than the modern wellness industry. When you drink pure water mixed with vinegar, you are not dumping raw sodium into your bloodstream. You are ingesting acetic acid. Acetic acid is a miraculous metabolic compound. It dramatically stabilizes blood sugar and blunts the insulin response. Furthermore, the sour wine vinegar was incredibly rich in potassium and magnesium, the exact intracellular electrolytes that modern humans are deficient in. Remember the biological battery. Sodium sits outside the cell, potassium sits inside the cell. When the Roman legionary drank his pasca, he was flooding his system with potassium and magnesium. These intracellular minerals actually pulled the pure water into the muscle cells, deeply hydrating the fascial tissue and keeping the intracellular matrix perfectly hydrated for a 20-mile march. They did not drink a hypertonic sodium bomb that spiked their blood pressure. They drank a potassium-rich, acetic acid tonic that optimized their cellular metabolism. Did the Romans eat salt? Of course they did. The word salary comes from the Latin salarium asterisk, the allowance paid to Roman soldiers to buy salt. But they did not dissolve it into their drinking water on an empty stomach at 6 in the morning. The Romans consumed their salt primarily through a condiment called asterisk garum asterisk, a fermented fish sauce. And here is the massive, critical biological difference. The Romans put garum on their food. They consumed their massive sodium load completely bound up with heavy dietary fiber, complex fats, and dense proteins. When you eat salt with a complex meal, the digestion process is slow. The salt is gradually, methodically released into the bloodstream over the course of hours. The blood pressure does not spike violently. The body has time to process and balance the mineral. When you dissolve raw salt into pure water and drink it on an empty stomach, there is no fiber, there is no fat. The highly concentrated sodium water hits the empty stomach and rockets into the bloodstream in a matter of minutes. The Romans used salt as a slow-release culinary nutrient. You are using salt as a violent, intravenous-style chemical spike. You have taken an ancient biological necessity and turned it into a modern physiological weapon by removing the context of the food. This is the absolute danger of the internet biohacker. They suffer from severe context collapse. They read a medical textbook that says sodium is essential. They read a historical footnote that says Romans paid their soldiers in salt, and they smash these two disconnected facts together to create a dangerous protocol. They ignore the rigid, stiffening arteries of the aging human body. They ignore the brutal physics of cellular osmosis. They ignore the fact that the Romans ate their salt with fiber and drank potassium-rich vinegar for hydration. They take a 25-year-old metabolism, project it onto a 65-year-old body, and sell you a protocol that actively destroys your cardiovascular system. We live in a culture that is absolutely desperate for a magic pill. We want to believe that we can optimize our health by simply twisting a pink salt grinder over a glass of water. You cannot hack human biology. You can only respect the physics of the machine or suffer the consequences of violating them. We must calibrate this. I want you to know exactly how firmly established these mechanisms are in the medical and historical literature. The mechanics of cellular osmosis, where a hypertonic extracellular sodium load pulls water out of the intracellular matrix, is the absolute foundational bedrock of cellular biology and fluid dynamics. The immediate, dangerous elevation of blood pressure caused by acute sodium loading in older adults with reduced arterial compliance, stiff arteries, is a heavily documented, peer-reviewed fact in cardiovascular hemodynamics. And the historical truth regarding the Roman aqueducts delivering pure water, the Roman military consuming the acetic acid-based asterisk pasca asterisk for hydration, and the consumption of salt via the fermented, complex food matrix of asterisk garum, is the undisputed consensus of classical archaeology. The cellular physics are real, the vascular hemodynamics are real, the historical precedent is absolute. Now stand perfectly still in your kitchen and look at the glass of pure water and the salt shaker on the counter. Recognize the sheer magnitude of the biological machinery you have been manipulating, and exactly what happens when you stop fighting your own biology. Imagine what happens tomorrow morning when you run the true Roman protocol. You wake up, you leave the salt in the cabinet, you take a massive glass of pure, room-temperature water. If you want to truly emulate the Roman legionary, if you want the actual biological benefit of Pascha, you take 1 single tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, pure acetic acid, loaded with trace potassium, and you mix it into the pure water. You drink it. The pure fluid passes seamlessly into your bloodstream. The trace potassium from the vinegar pulls the pure water directly across the cell membrane, deep into the intracellular matrix. Your brain cells rehydrate. Your fascial tissues absorb the water, restoring the oily bath and ungluing your joints. Because there is no massive sodium spike, your blood volume expands gently. Your 65-year-old stiffened arteries are not subjected to a violent hydraulic hammer. Your blood pressure remains perfectly, smoothly stable. The acetic acid from the vinegar stabilizes your morning blood sugar, providing a clean, flat, stable energy curve for the rest of the day. Pure hydration, stable blood pressure, protected endothelium, stabilized blood sugar. 4 profound, intense, life-saving biological mechanisms running perfectly, simultaneously, cascading into one another to rebuild the resilience and the structural integrity of the aging human machine. And all it requires is for you to ignore the internet and leave the salt in the cabinet. Look at the counter. Pick up the salt shaker. Put it back in the spice cabinet and close the door. Keep it for your dinner. Keep it for your food. Keep it where it belongs. Pick up the glass of pure, clear water. Stop treating your cardiovascular system like a biological toy that you can hack with rock salt. Stop taking medical advice from 25-year-olds who have never felt the reality of a rigid 65-year-old artery. Respect the physics of your blood vessels. Respect the exact science of cellular osmosis. Put the salt away. Drink the pure water. Hydrate the cell. Protect the heart. Hydrate like a Roman.